Chapter 938, Devouring Bloodline 1. However, shortly after Yi Qingtang left the palace, the girl in green slowly emerged from behind a huge tree. It was the same girl one who had passed to the last stage of the inheritance of the Divine Phoenix with Yi Qingtang. The girl had been confident that she would win when the Divine Phoenix had passed over her at the last moment. Instead, it was Yi Qingtang who obtained the inheritance of the Divine Phoenix. At that moment, the girl in green was looking at Yi Qingtang with ice-cold eyes. She had clearly been waiting for a long time. The girl in green slowly walked towards Yi Qingtang. "You have finally come out. I have been waiting here for a long time." The girl in green glared at Yi Qingtang and spoke coldly. Her eyes were filled with intense coldness. "Oh." Yi Qingtang stared at the girl in green and said calmly, "I have no dealings with you and don't know you. Why are you waiting here for me?" "Nothing much. I just wanted to congratulate you," said the girl in green. "Congratulate me?" The corners of the Yi Qingtang's mouth curved slightly, and she laughed coldly. "Thanks. Read more at Ellis novel." "However," said the girl in green, as she suddenly narrowed her eyes. Her tone also changed. "Good things should be shared. The inheritance of the Divine Phoenix is the power of the original Phoenix bloodline and is very pure. Can you share some of it with me? Otherwise, with your spirit root and ability, possessing such a pure and powerful bloodline will only endanger your life and bring calamity." The girl in green gave Yi Qingtang a disdainful look. "A mere yellow spirit root. What you mean is that you intend to seize the power of my bloodline." Yi Qingtang laughed coldly as she looked at the girl in green. But Yi Qingtang was curious. The power of a bloodline was integrated with one's body. Unlike a spirit root, which had a physical body and hence could be dug out from the body, it was impossible to seize the power of a bloodline. However, the girl in green seemed to be planning to seize her Phoenix bloodline. How was she going to do that? The girl in green laughed coldly. Her proud glance passed over Yi Qingtang, and her expression clearly showed her disdain. "I am not seizing. I am merely taking back. Only someone powerful can control and possess a powerful bloodline. It is not something that belongs to a weakling like you." As she spoke, the girl's frightening aura instantly diffused and spread out in a 10-meter wide circle that enclosed Yi Qingtang. Divine arcane supremacy. Yi Qingtang's eyes narrowed when she sensed the girl in green's martial aura. The girl in green was worthy of having peak martial talents and a blue spirit root. To have achieved this grade at her age, it was no exaggeration to say that she was a genius. If not for an accidental abortion of her plan, in the future, the girl in green would become a powerful cultivator of at least the Holy Venerate level, or perhaps even an Emperor-level Supreme Chief, which was above the level of Holy Venerate. It was just that although the girl in green had reached the stage of divine arcane supremacy, in this mainland where spirit energy was scarce, the girl in green's martial abilities and cultivation were repressed to the level of yin-yang perfected Lord Eighth Heaven. Yi Qingtang had just obtained the bloodline passed to her by the Divine Phoenix and also possessed the Mirror of Illusions. Her own martial abilities had reached the stage of yin-yang perfected Lord Seventh Heaven, so she had no reason to fear the girl in green. "You think you can beat me?" The eyes of the girl in green were cold and remote. "Do you think that you have nothing to fear because you have obtained the inheritance of the original Phoenix?" Chapter 939, Devouring Bloodline 2. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, a voice suddenly rang out at her mind. "Miss Yi, this girl has a mutated demonic bloodline, which has evolved into the Devouring Bloodline. She can devour the power of all the bloodlines in the world. She is looking for an opportunity to devour your bloodline. Remember, Ling Yan." Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. It was indeed Ling Yan's voice. However, it was a voice that Ling Yan had sealed a long time ago with the power of karma. This meant that Ling Yan had known long ago that she would meet this girl in green and that this situation would develop. Ling Yan's schemes aside, Yi Qingtang was shocked by the girl in green's devouring bloodline. The devouring bloodline was also called the taboo bloodline. Since the time of the gods and sages, It was an invincible bloodline that had been cursed. This was not to say that the devouring bloodline itself was particularly strong. However, the devouring bloodline could devour all the bloodlines in the world. Even a god's bloodline could be easily devoured and converted for one's own use. Furthermore, it was already very difficult for most ordinary cultivators to possess the power of one bloodline. But the devouring bloodline was different. It could devour millions of bloodlines and integrate them into one body. Having the devouring bloodline was equivalent to possessing the power of all the bloodlines in the world. It could be said that whoever possessed the devouring bloodline could devour any bloodline in the world. There were many kinds of bloodlines in the world, each with a different effect, but all of them could give its possessor huge strength. The devouring bloodline that could devour all bloodlines was so powerful and dangerous that it was terrifying. However, the devouring bloodline was very rare. Even in primordial times, it had only appeared transiently. What's the matter? Are you scared now? The girl in green was looking at Yi Qingtang with a calm and icy expression. She continued to press towards Yi Qingtang at a moderate pace. Yi Qingtang ignored the girl. She was still pondering the meaning of Ling Yan's words. The meaning of the voice that Ling Yan had sealed was amply clear. She should allow the girl in green to devour the power of her bloodline. However, Yi Qingtang was unable to comprehend Ling Yan's line of thought. Why should the power of her bloodline be devoured by the girl in green? Could it be that the immortal and Buddha bloodline? Yi Qingtang suddenly frowned slightly, as if she had thought of something. Besides the bloodline of the divine phoenix's inheritance, an immortal and Buddha bloodline existed in her body. Based on what the divine phoenix had said, the heart of the heavenly Tao could be nurtured in her body because of the immense power of the immortal and Buddha bloodline. However, the girl in green possessed the devouring bloodline and could devour all the bloodlines in the world. This meant that her immortal and Buddha bloodline would also be devoured by her. In that case, after the immortal and Buddha bloodline in her body had been devoured, perhaps the heart of the heavenly Tao would also vanish, or perhaps the girl who had devoured her immortal and Buddha bloodline would become the new vessel. More and more clues and guesses continued to churn in Yi Qingtang's mind. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was unable to ascertain whether her guess was correct. However, Yi Qingtang did not have time to think any further. The girl in green's toes lightly pushed off from the ground, and she leaped over to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang immediately pushed her bewilderment aside and drew her regicide skyblade. With a flick of her wrist, her sword instantly swept downward towards the girl in green. Swoosh! Chapter 9:40 Devouring Bloodline 3. A piercing sound filled the space. This area seemed to lie prostrate and tremble under the sword. The scarlet sword gleam filled the air, destroying everything in its path and cutting a wide swath. However, just as Yi Qingtang drew the regicide skyblade, the girl vanished completely. It was as if she had melted into the air, and she was nowhere to be found. Boom, boom, boom. The next moment, a thunderous crash rang out. The scarlet sword gleam had smashed a mountain peak 1,000 meters away, pulverizing it. The gravel fell to the ground like rain. You're pretty powerful. The girl suddenly tore through space, and she walked out from an unknown space. Space transfer. Yi Qingtang was stunned when she saw the girl tear space and walk out from it. This girl's skills were truly frightening. Even an emperor-level cultivator could not compare with this girl's understanding and ability to manipulate space. If not for the fact that they were currently in this mainland where spirit energy was scarce, who knew how terrifying her real ability would be? However, before Yi Qingtang could recover her senses, the girl's right palm lightly touched Yi Qingtang's left shoulder. She said coldly, "Actually, the Divine Phoenix got some things wrong. The Divine Phoenix ascertained that my spirit root was blue. However, I have no spirit root. The blue spirit root was merely an illusion that I created. I could have even created a purple spirit root." The instant the girl in green finished speaking, a purple spirit root exploded within her body. The terrifying power of her spirit root seemed to rend both heaven and earth. All things prostrated themselves and trembled. This girl can actually create an illusion of a spirit root. Yi Qingtang was shocked. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang had been robbed of her spirit root, so her body had no spirit root. She had sought ways to create an illusion of a spirit root, but all these methods could at most create an illusion of the lowest level red spirit root. But this girl in green could even create an illusion of a purple spirit root. In addition, based on what Yi Qingtang knew about the ability to create an illusion of a spirit root, one could only create an illusion of its form. There was no way to create an illusion of the true power of a spirit root. But this girl was different. With such shocking skills, 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 EUs was no match for her. That's not right. In this world, only a reincarnated true god can create an illusion of a spirit root. Yi Qingtang suddenly realized that something was amiss, and she frowned as she spoke. "Oh, you do have some knowledge. Have you found me out?" The girl in green's lips curved upwards slightly, and she suddenly smiled mysteriously. "You are a reincarnation of a true god." Yi Qingtang stared at the girl in green. The so-called reincarnation of a true god occurred when a true god died and was reborn as a human. Only when its godlike powers were awakened could it be called a reincarnation of a true god. And only a reincarnation of a true god could easily create the illusion of any spirit root. The girl in green did not respond to Yi Qingtang. She only said coldly, "I am pleased to accept the bloodline of the original divine phoenix." As the girl spoke, Yi Qingtang felt the bloodline within her body boiling. It was as if even her soul was being sucked out of her body. Not bad. The bloodline of the original divine phoenix is truly powerful. "I am satisfied," the girl in green said coldly. "Ling Yin, what do you mean by allowing this person to devour the power of my bloodline?" Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Ling Yan's words reverberated in her mind. Chapter 941, Devouring Bloodline. 4. Yi Qingtang did not understand Ling Yan's true intentions, but she instinctively chose to believe Ling Yan. She had a strange feeling that Ling Yan would never harm her. Otherwise, although Yi Qingtang was no match for the girl in green, the girl in green could not prevent her from fleeing either. The moment the original divine phoenix's bloodline was sucked out of her body, the heavenly demon pearl that Yi Qingtang had swallowed exploded in an unimaginable burst of heavenly demon aura. A furious roar exploded within Yi Qingtang's body. The power of the original heavenly demon gushed forth like a flood breaking its dam. It began to strip the power from the bloodline of the girl in green. Original heavenly demon aura. The girl in green's pupils constricted, and her expression changed drastically. Yi Qingtang had original heavenly demon aura in her body. Furthermore, Yi Qingtang had not yet fully digested the original heavenly demon aura. When she sensed the incursion by the heavenly demon aura that had begun to devour her bloodline, the girl was enraged. "You, who exactly are you? Why do you have original heavenly demon aura within you?" The girl in green shouted coldly at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang had not moved at all. It was as if her body was beyond her control. Instead, it was being controlled by the power of the heavenly demon pearl. After a short while, the girl in green gritted her teeth and tried to move the hand that she had placed on Yi Qingtang's shoulder. However, the girl in green did not succeed. It was as if the hand that she had placed on Yi Qingtang's shoulders had grown roots. It would not budge even an inch. As the minutes and seconds ticked by, the girl in green's face became ashen. You dare to devour my devouring bloodline." The girl's expression was cold and vicious. She could clearly sense Yi Qingtang devouring the devouring bloodline in her body bit by bit. The reality was that Yi Qingtang did not want to devour the girl in green's bloodline, but her body was being controlled by the power of the heavenly demon pearl. All this was caused by the heavenly demon pearl and was not Yi Qingtang's intention. Puff! After 15 minutes, the girl in green spat out fresh blood. She staggered as she stumbled backward. "My devouring bloodline." The girl in green gritted her teeth, as she glared at Yi Qingtang. Her devouring bloodline had been seized by Yi Qingtang. Although she usually devoured the bloodlines of others, the girl in green had not dreamt that today her bloodline would be devoured instead. The aura of the heavenly demon pearl had dissipated. Yi Qingtang was now in control of her body again, and her expression was filled with shock. Yi Qingtang clearly sensed that an extremely strong and potent bloodline had been added to her body. The power of this bloodline seemed to appear out of nowhere. It was the heavenly demon pearl that devoured the girl in green's devouring bloodline instead. Yi Qingtang's expression was rather strange. The heavenly demon pearl originated from the body of the original heavenly demon. It was the accumulation of a lifetime of essence of the original heavenly demon. The girl's devouring bloodline was evolved from the heavenly demon's bloodline. Just now, when the girl in green used the heavenly demon devouring bloodline to devour the power of her bloodline, it had angered the heavenly demon pearl. Instead, the heavenly demon pearl had seized the devouring bloodline of the girl in green, and Yi Qingtang had reaped the benefits. That means I now have the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Yi Qingtang snapped out of her reverie after a long time. This bloodline could be said to be the most terrifying and powerful bloodline in the world. However, Yi Qingtang had now unaccountably seized the heavenly demon devouring bloodline of the girl in green. Chapter 942, Devouring Bloodline. 5. Yi Qingtang looked at the girl in green and said coldly, "Your heavenly demon devouring bloodline is truly terrifying, but I must thank you." Yi Qingtang served the girl in green with her own words. With just the divine phoenix bloodline, she had exchanged it for the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. As she spoke, the corners of Yi Qingtang's lips curved upwards into a bone-chilling smile. She strode over to the girl in green. Who knew how many powerful bloodlines the girl in green had devoured using her heavenly demon devouring bloodline? Now, she herself possessed the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. If she could devour all the girl's bloodlines. Good. Very good. The girl in green stared at Yi Qingtang. Her expression was gloomy. Change is bound to happen. Today, you have seized my heavenly demon devouring bloodline. In the future, I will force you to repay me 1,000,000 times over. When the girl in green finished speaking, her entire person suddenly integrated into space, and she vanished on the spot, as if she had evaporated. Yi Qingtang only relaxed when she was certain that the girl in green had left completely. This situation was completely unexpected. Yi Qingtang had been content with the original Phoenix bloodline from the inheritance of the divine Phoenix. Now, she had seized the girl in green's heavenly demon devouring bloodline in some strange way and could devour the power of all the bloodlines in this world. The devouring bloodline was a power that was absolutely taboo. It could make a cultivator invincible, but could also force them into eternal damnation. Yi Qingtang was certain that once others knew that she possessed the heavenly demon devouring bloodline, she would be relentlessly pursued to the death. Possessing the devouring bloodline was a sin. In this world, no one hoped that the power of their bloodline would be devoured by someone else. As a result, once someone who possessed the devouring bloodline was discovered, the results were easily predictable. What the fuck? Devouring bloodline. Little white tiger suddenly poked its head out of Yi Qingtang's arms. With a shocked expression, it said, "You are incredibly lucky. It's actually the devouring bloodline. This kind of bloodline can easily devour the power of us fiend celestial beasts." Oh, Yi Qingtang was shocked. The devouring bloodline seldom appeared in this world. In both her lives, Yi Qingtang had heard of the devouring bloodline, but had never seen it. Only the most outstanding among the heavenly demon clan can possess the devouring bloodline. Further, the heavenly demon clan is an alien race. In primordial times, it almost extinguished all living beings. In the end, the true God created a barrier and drove them into an alien space. However, the heavenly demon clan said that they would return someday. The little white tiger said thoughtfully. Yi Qingtang now possessed the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. If the heavenly demon clan should break through the seal one day, would they take Yi Qingtang for one of their own? This is the first time I have come into contact with the devouring bloodline. You said just now that the devouring bloodline can even devour the power of the fiend celestial beasts? Yi Qingtang asked as she looked at the little white tiger. That's right. The little white tiger nodded vigorously. There is no power that the devouring bloodline cannot devour. Even if you meet the true God, you can devour all his power and transform it into a part of yourself. That's why the devouring bloodline is called the taboo bloodline of power. If the bloodlines were ranked, the devouring bloodline would be superior to the power of thousands of other bloodlines. It is one of the powerful primordial bloodlines. Chapter 943, we meet again. 1. In that case, want to let me try devouring you? Yi Qingtang looked at little white tiger meaningfully. It's just like you to bully me. We're allies. Why would you devour me? The little white tiger repeatedly shook its head. The little white tiger immediately leaped from Yi Qingtang's arms to the ground. It picked up a stone in its mouth and threw it at Yi Qingtang's feet. Go on, try to devour it. You want me to devour a stone? The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched. That's right. Try it. The little white tiger nodded. Yi Qingtang had no choice but to use her devouring power. A black glow shrouded the stone. The next instant, there was a cracking noise, and the stone exploded into fine powder, then transforming into nothing. However, Yi Qingtang was surprised to discover that the stone actually contained a trace of spirit energy, which she digested. What the fuck? It's so twisted. The little white tiger was rendered speechless. Not only can he devouring bloodline devour bloodlines, but can also devour all the energy in this world. Even spirit roots can be easily devoured. However, with your present ability and cultivation level, you've done well to devour stone. If you want to devour the power of a human's bloodline and cultivation, you'll need to cultivate for a few more years. Of course, Yi Qingtang understood what the little white tiger was saying. It was not true that just anyone who obtained a powerful bloodline could immediately use it perfectly. Like the girl in green, with her inscrutable martial talent and cultivation. Even if the true god was reborn, she could at most devour the power of a bloodline, but would be unable to devour the power of cultivation. Furthermore, Yi Qingtang was currently only a yin-yang perfected Lord Seventh Heaven. She was doing pretty well to be able to devour some plants, but she was unable to devour the power of another person's bloodline. Of course, Yi Qingtang was not interested in devouring other people's bloodlines. Yi Qingtang would never actively seize someone else's bloodline or cultivation, as it was contrary to her principles. But if anyone tried to kill her, Yi Qingtang would naturally not be bothered with morals or principles. In summary, if others did not threaten her, Yi Qingtang would not actively seize other people's bloodline or cultivation. But if someone insisted on opposing her or tried to kill her, then Yi Qingtang's devouring bloodline would teach him a lesson. Before Yi Qingtang had time to think further, a slender figure slowly approached. "Miss Yi, do you like my present?" A laughing voice rang out. When she heard the voice, Yi Qingtang turned around and saw a handsome, smiling man. His hair waved in the wind. He looked radiant and extraordinarily elegant. Ling Yin. Yi Qingtang frowned. "Wasn't that Ling Yin? Why do you enjoy involving me in your schemes?" Ling Yin laughed softly when he heard Yi Qingtang's words. "What does Miss Yi mean? I have never done anything to Miss Yi's disadvantage." "Of course I know that," Yi Qingtang said. "I meant that you should discuss your schemes with me beforehand. I'm always the last to know about them." Yi Qingtang was already considered intelligent, but she found it difficult to cross swords with Ling Yin, who had near demonic intelligence. Heaven knows how this fellow had gotten a brain like that. It was as if he held heaven and earth in the palm of his hand. "Missy, if I told you earlier, I'm afraid it would cause some changes, but of course, if Missy doesn't like it, I will discuss them with you next time." Ling Yin smiled good-naturedly. Chapter 944, we meet again. 2. Before Yi Qingtang could speak further, her gaze suddenly fell onto something next to Ling Yin. The silver wolf, who had been lost in the previous chaos, was now standing quietly next to Ling Yin. Xiao Guai, where have you been? Yi Qingtang looked at the silver wolf with some surprise. The silver wolf was quietly following Ling Yin and seemed intent on ignoring Yi Qingtang. This was the first time that the silver wolf had ignored her, and Yi Qingtang felt that it was rather strange. She knew that the silver wolf was proud and aloof. It usually ignored everyone, but she was the only exception. Now, why was Xiao Guai ignoring her too? Does Miss Yi like my silver wolf? Ling Yin laughed when he saw the situation. Yours? Yi Qingtang was taken aback when she heard Ling Yan's words. Xiao Guai is mine. Very well, since Miss Yi says so, then it belongs to Miss Yi. Ling Yin nodded and turned to look at the silver wolf. Hadn't you better go over? RW000000. When it heard Ling Yan's words, the silver wolf unwillingly walked over to Yi Qingtang, but looked back every few steps as if it could not bear to leave Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang was speechless when she saw the silver wolf's resentful expression. What is wrong with Xiao Guai? Could it be that Ling Yin demonic intelligence had even allowed him to subdue the wolf? That's right, the devouring bloodline. Missy needs to use it cautiously. Do not allow anyone to find out about it. Just as Yi Qingtang was puzzling over the sudden change in Xiao Guai's personality, Ling Yin suddenly spoke to her. When he mentioned the devouring bloodline, Yi Qingtang's earlier suspicions awoke in her heart again. She looked at Ling Yin. Ling Yin, was this a part of your scheme? How did you know that the girl had the devouring bloodline? How did this happen, and how will it end? Yi Qingtang was unable to understand Ling Yin's schemes. Probably no one on Earth could guess what Ling Yin was thinking. That girl was a member of the Jiang family, said Ling Yin. Yi Qingtang was not surprised. The fact that she possessed the heavenly demon bloodline meant she was probably from the Jiang family. Let me tell you, little azure dragon, who had followed Ling Yin, cleared its throat and said, Ling Yin is familiar with the Jiang family. The girl left the Jiang family when she was young and traveled to the second domain. After she grew up, her heavenly demon bloodline transformed into the devouring bloodline. The Jiang family found out and searched far and wide for the girl. Then Ling Yin received news that the girl had reached this mainland and entered the dragon vein. The girl had previously devoured someone else's phoenix bloodline. After entering the dragon vein, she was sure to head towards the inheritance of the divine phoenix. Further, as Miss Yes' only opponent was the girl, one of two outcomes were certain to arise. Were the two outcomes? The little white tiger was curious. The first outcome was that the girl would obtain the inheritance of the divine phoenix. The little azure dragon spoke mysteriously. The second outcome was that Yi Qingtang would obtain the inheritance of the divine phoenix. If the girl obtained the inheritance of the divine phoenix, after she saw the power of Yi Qingtang's rise of the phoenix, she would certainly try to devour it. However, once the girl and Miss Yi crossed swords, Miss Yes' heavenly demon pearl would certainly react and seize the power of the girl's devouring bloodline. Little azure dragon smiled and said, the second outcome was that Yi Qingtang would obtain the inheritance of the divine phoenix, and the girl, unwilling to resign herself, would seize Miss Yes' divine phoenix bloodline. Chapter 945, We Meet Again, 3, but the conclusion would be the same. The heavenly demon, Pearl, has the aura of the original heavenly demon. The moment the girl acted against Yi Qingtang, her devouring bloodline would be seized by the power of the heavenly demon Pearl. The conclusion would be the same, regardless of the outcome. Little azure dragon finished slowly. Ling Yin, what a great scheme. But what if there was someone else with the phoenix bloodline among the cultivators who came to the inheritance of the divine phoenix, and he was chosen by the divine phoenix? Then, the successor would be neither Yi Qingtang nor the girl in green. Wouldn't your scheme fall through? The little white tiger was not convinced. That is impossible because Ling Yin already checked, and no one else possessed the phoenix bloodline. Even if they did, it would be an inferior phoenix bloodline, and the divine phoenix would not choose him. Even a superior phoenix bloodline would be inferior to Yi Qingtang and the girl, explained the little azure dragon. Fuck you, you're vicious. You win. The little white tiger grunted coldly. Ever since he had entered the dragon vein, everything this Ling Yin had done was seemingly unrelated. But in reality, when he strung them together, they formed an interlocking chain that one could not guard against. Ever since Yi Qingtang had blocked the knife, it had been one grand, shocking scheme. Further, the chain reaction caused by the knife included killing perfected Gu Yun, obtaining the heavenly demon pearl, making everyone believe Yi Qingtang was a cultivator from the Jiang family, and finally the power of the heavenly demon pearl seizing the devouring bloodline, and so on. This kind of person was just too horrifying, with all kinds of evil plots and benign schemes. Even if one knew it was a trap, one had no choice but to grit one's teeth and jump in. What the fuck? That's not right, Ling Yan. The little white tiger suddenly looked at Ling Yan. If you didn't give the heavenly demon pearl to Yi Qingtang, but personally came to the inheritance of the divine phoenix and provoked the girl into fighting you, you could have used the power of the heavenly demon pearl and seized the girl's devouring bloodline yourself. If you had the devouring bloodline coupled with your schemes, you would definitely be comparable with the true god within a few years. But you gave the heavenly demon pearl to Yi Qingtang instead. Why was that? Even Yi Qingtang herself could not understand, much less the little white tiger. Ling Yin could predict everything down to the last detail. Based on his intelligence, it would be only too easy to gain power. Why would he give her all these opportunities? When he heard that, Ling Yin smiled and said, I felt that Miss Yi needed the devouring bloodline more than I did. Miss Yi's calamity is probably greater than mine. Also, although I may have lost the opportunity to become comparable with the true god, Miss Yi can protect me in the future, isn't it? As he spoke, Ling Yan's smiling gaze seemed to fall on Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Little white tiger scoffed. You'll never believe that you need anyone to protect you. You're being stupid. The little azure dragon glared at the little white tiger. He is worried about Yi Qingtang's safety. After possessing the devouring bloodline, Yi Qingtang can become more powerful. He would rather forego his chance to become comparable to the true god. Do you understand? Oh, I understand. The little white tiger studied Yi Qingtang meaningfully. However, without giving Yi Qingtang a chance to speak, Ling Yin laughed and said, Miss Yi, you had better leave this mainland as soon as possible. Why? Yi Qingtang was perplexed. Because, Ling Yin smiled. I'm going to destroy this mainland with the power of the true dragon. What did you say? Yi Qingtang frowned deeply after hearing Ling Yan's words. Was this Ling Yin actually going to use the power of the true dragon to destroy this mainland? Chapter 946 Price 1. This mainland was transformed by a spiritual abode, and a hidden ancient clan in the central mainland has already received the news. In no time, they will come here to destroy everything and obtain the spiritual abode. I want to destroy this mainland before them, so they will not be able to obtain the spiritual abode, said Ling Yin. Ling Yin had some enmity with that ancient clan, and his ultimate objective of coming to this mainland was to destroy it. Otherwise, once that ancient clan obtains the spiritual abode, their powers would skyrocket, such that they would be able to control the first domain. Ling Yin, you can destroy this mainland. Yi Qingtang took a deep breath before looking up to meet Ling Yan's eyes. Over my dead body. You don't wish for me to do that. Ling Yan asked gently as he looked at her bright eyes. My loved ones and friends are in this mainland. It is where I am raised and nurtured until now. Yi Qingtang replied. Perhaps Ling Yan's skills were not anything significant, but what was really scary about him was his intelligence. If he really wished to do that, no one would be able to guess how he would go about it. After listening to what Yi Qingtang said, Ling Yin pondered for a moment and eventually said, It's possible to not destroy this mainland, but you must pay a certain price. What price? Yi Qingtang asked instinctively. Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yin perplexed. To protect this mainland, she still had to pay a price. However, it seemed that Ling Yin still had not understood the situation. Leaving aside the fact that Yi Qingtang was already at the Yin Yang perfected Lord's seventh heaven realm and possesses the devouring bloodline and original phoenix bloodline. Given Ling Yan's martial skills, it was child's play to kill Ling Yan even if her skills had not improved. However, Yi Qingtang did not wish for such a thing to happen. She did not want this mainland to be destroyed in Ling Yan's hands, and neither did she wish to hurt Ling Yan. She could not kill Ling Yan as he played a part in her rebirth, not to mention the several times he helped her before. The so-called price, however, piqued Yi Qingtang's curiosity. Ling Yan walked forward slowly as his crescent-like eyes stared right in her eyes. Before Yi Qingtang returned to her senses, Ling Yan's lips touched Yi Qingtang's lips gently, like a dragonfly, skimming the water surface and parted immediately after a touch. The slight warmth that came with the contact disappeared instantly. It seemed unreal. Dumbfounded, Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yan in surprise. "This is the price that you have to pay." Ling Yan stared at Yi Qingtang and said slowly as he flashed an unknowing smile. The price that she had to pay. Yi Qingtang recovered from her surprise. An unreal warmth seemed to still linger on her lips. In just a moment, Yi Qingtang widened her eyes, and she glared at Ling Yan. For some reason, she felt that this scene was familiar. Yi Qingtang was about to slap this fellow, but before she could lash out, Ling Yan's expression suddenly turned serious, and he said, "If I don't destroy this mainland, I'm afraid it will still be taken away by the ancient clan. The miserable fate of this mainland is still unavoidable." Yi Qingtang was taken aback. The impulse to slap Ling Yan was all gone, as all her attention was instantly attracted by what Ling Yan said. Chapter 947 Price 2. I will not let such a thing happen, Yi Qingtang said as determination filled her eyes. Yi Qingtang had an extremely special attachment to this mainland, regardless of whether she was a citizen here. In this mainland, there was the Yi family who raised her, the sex where she learned her skills from. There were too many sentiments as well as feelings attached. Yi Qingtang lived 2 times, and if she could not even protect this mainland, what was the meaning of her rebirth? Ling Yan looked at Yi Qingtang, whose attention was successfully diverted away, and a smile fleeted across his eyes. Then he said calmly, "I originally wanted to destroy this mainland directly, but since you're unwilling to, then forget about it. Currently, 2 out of the 3 great inheritances in this dragon vein belong to you. This trip can be considered to be successful and completed." Yi Qingtang was thankful for Ling Yan about this. Without Ling Yan's assistance, she would definitely be unable to obtain such destinies on this trip. Not only did she gain the original Phoenix bloodline inheritance and the Heavenly Demon inheritance, she even seized the Heavenly Demon devouring bloodline from that girl in green. Ling Yan's words truly faded Yi Qingtang's intention to slap him by a large amount. She faintly sensed that whatever Ling Yan said a while ago seemed to be diverting her attention, but what was speechless was what he said was really not simple. Furthermore, as the saying went, to receive a gift was to sell one's liberty. Moreover, with Ling Yan's skills, her slap might just kill him. Let's go quickly. With the 3 great inheritances in the dragon vein all gone, the 3 major forces on this mainland will definitely be alarmed. There's no need to continue creating more problems. The little azure dragon advised. Yi Qingtang fully agreed with what it said. The Peerless School, Phantom Valley, and Biming Manor were the most powerful forces of this mainland. Even with Yi Qingtang's current cultivation base, she might not be able to stand any bargain if she fought all 3 of them head-on. Half a day later, Yi Qingtang and Ling Yan left the dragon vein and reached a deserted land before they entered the dragon vein. "Ling Yan, did you come to this mainland just for the dragon vein?" Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yan and asked. "My goals." Smiles filled Ling Yan's eyes as though nothing happened at all before, and he replied slowly, "There are too many goals, but almost all are achieved. Naturally, destroying this mainland was one of my original objectives, but it was rejected by you. That is also my only unaccomplished goal. Of course, the greatest goal for coming to this mainland is still you, Miss Yi." Then, Ling Yan's eyes naturally landed on Yi Qingtang as a seeming smile formed on his face. Regarding Ling Yan's shocking remarks from time to time, Yi Qingtang had already chosen to consciously ignore them. In this dragon vein, Yi Qingtang once saw her past in the Pewdie Tree, where she ultimately learned that the person who helped her to be reborn was not anyone else but Ling Yan. In this entire world, Ling Yan was probably the only one who could achieve such a remarkable feat with his karma bloodline. Although Yi Qingtang was curious and wished to know why Ling Yan helped her to be reborn, she was unable to ask such a thing currently. After all, the person who allowed her rebirth was the Ling Yan from her previous life and not the current one. Even if she questioned him now, Ling Yan might not know anything either, and there would be no point in asking then. Chapter 948 Price 3. Miss Yi, since you want to protect this mainland, then that means you will not be leaving with me. A while later, Ling Yan looked at Yi Qingtang meaningfully. Yi Qingtang was a little dumbfounded. Even if this mainland did not need her protection, there was no need for her to leave with Ling Yan, was there? Since that's the case, how about I stay to be with you? Ling Yan suddenly asked with a laugh when he saw that Yi Qingtang did not speak. Yi Qingtang glared at Ling Yan and shook her head. There's no need. Given Ling Yan's martial chi level 3 third heaven skills, it was too dangerous for him to remain in this mainland. Furthermore, not only did she have to face the ancient clan, which was about to head over, she still had to settle some matters in Xianling's sect and Falling Sky Valley. She had no time to take care of Ling Yan, although she did not think that. Ling Yan really needed her care, given his intelligence. But accidents existed. No one could promise that an accident would not happen. Moreover, this incident had nothing to do with Ling Yan from the start. Seeing that Yi Qingtang was determined, Ling Yan said, "Since that's the case, please take care. I hope to see you in the central mainland." Afterward, Ling Yan cast Yi Qingtang a meaningful look before leaving with the little azure dragon. Right before he turned around to leave, a faint trace of a smile danced in the corners of his eyes. Unbeknown to Yi Qingtang, there would be a day they would meet again. He looked forward to the arrival of that day. Watching the back view of Ling Yan as he left, Yi Qingtang looked down slightly and rid the strange feeling in her heart. Then, she turned around and headed in the direction of the formidable Heavens dynasty. She still had many things to settle. Those were the duties that she had to complete. Are you really not destroying this mainland? The little azure dragon looked at Ling Yan in surprise. Is Ling Yan going to change his plans just because of one sentence from Yi Qingtang? Ling Yan chuckled. Is a sentence from Miss Yi not enough? Ling Yan, it is not important whether that ancient clan of the central mainland can keep the spiritual abode or not. However, you should know that once the Heavenly Emperor knows that your body and Miss Yi are on this mainland, the consequences would be dire. The little azure dragon said anxiously, "Are you this certain that I am Han Songming?" Ling Yan looked at the little azure dragon with a faint smile. A straightforward person does not use insinuations. I am not anyone else. You can dream of hiding your true identity from me. Confidence was written all over the little azure dragon's face. Frankly speaking, you are the demon god, Han Songming, and there is no influence on you even if I know it or not. Ling Yan smiled after hearing the little azure dragon. The Azure Dragon clan is indeed extremely intelligent. The True Dragon clan was the leader of the 4 great fiend celestial beasts. However, there was more than one breed of dragons. For example, the Black Dragon clan specialized in massacre, Azure Dragon in intellect and astronomy, the 5-clawed Golden Dragon in unparalleled power. Although the little Azure Dragon had not yet matured, its current spiritual wisdom was already extraordinary. Just as you said, there is no influence on me regardless of whether you know it or not. Ling Yan echoed with a smile. It's best that you admit it. Let's return to the topic then. I think that the wise choice is to use the power of the true dragon's inheritance to destroy this mainland. Your body appeared in this mainland before, and if you don't destroy all traces of it, you will not be able to ensure the safety of your body once the Heavenly Emperor hears this. The little azure dragon said sternly. Chapter 949 Price 4. Ling Yan did not seem to be concerned with what the little azure dragon said. To me, the body is not important. So be it if it exists or is destroyed. What did you say? The little azure dragon was taken aback as astonishment filled its eyes. Ling Yin, could it be that you don't intend to recover all of the Bodhi's powers in the future? The little azure dragon looked at Ling Yin with a complicated expression and continued. Although you already have your current body, your powers are all in your previous body. Even if you're unconcerned, at least recover your powers. That is where all of the demon gods' martial powers are. The powers of that empty shell were not what Ling Yan's current skill of martial chi level 3/3 heaven could compare to. Was he really going to forego it? Ling Yin merely flashed a tiny smile upon listening to what the little azure dragon said. If I really viewed powers so importantly, I would not have handed the heavenly demon pearl to Miss Yi. Ling Yin continued. In no more than 3 years, my skills can surpass my previous peak. Why exactly is that so? The little azure dragon could not comprehend Ling Yan's thinking. Firstly, if I recovered the Bodhi's powers, the heavenly Tao destiny will sense it. Secondly, I don't fancy that Bodhi's powers. Ling Yin smiled. The real reason is that you don't fancy it, isn't it? The little azure dragon remarked meaningfully. You can interpret it that way, too. Ling Yin laughed. Even if you don't care about the body, don't forget that the heavenly emperor should be on this mainland. Furthermore, he has already appeared. The little azure dragon sighed softly. Not only would the heavenly emperor destroy that body of Ling Yan's, but he would also destroy Yi Qingtang. You don't need to worry about such things, Ling Yin said. W000000. Before the little azure dragon could say anything, a silver shadow suddenly flashed by from far away. The silver wolf that should have left with Yi Qingtang suddenly chased after them. The silver wolf looked at Ling Yin with an irritated expression as it sprinted over wildly. However, only the silver wolf was in sight. This silver wolf was transformed by the killing intent of your body and has instincts. It seems that it has already identified who the true demon god is. The little azure dragon commented with a smile when it saw the silver wolf running over. Ling Yin looked at the silver wolf and said, given its skills, it will only be a hindrance if it remains beside Miss Yi. Let's leave with it. Then, Ling Yin brought the silver wolf and the little azure dragon and walked northward where a few guards had already been waiting for a long time. Your Highness! The midget looked at Ling Yin and greeted respectfully. Seal off this mainland. Only entries are allowed. Exits are prohibited. A trace of iciness silently flashed across Ling Yan's eyes. Seal? The guards were slightly stunned and flabbergasted. Ling Yin, you're thinking of blocking all the cultivators who came to this mainland from leaving. By the time when that ancient clan invades here, those powerful cultivators from the central mainland can only resist with their lives. In this case, it would reduce the pressure on Yi Qingtang. The little azure dragon analyzed thoughtfully. Ling Yin smiled and did not give any reply. After receiving Ling Yan's orders, the midget and other guards could only join hands to start the sealing formation. Once the formation was activated, it would be difficult for even a divine arcane supremacy to leave this mainland, although it was easy to enter. Your Highness, this formation can only persist for 2 months. After setting up the sealing formation, the midget reported. 2 months, is it? That's enough. Ling Yin nodded. Chapter 950 Return to Lin Town. 1. After parting from Ling Yin, Yi Qingtang rushed to Xianling's sect. As for what Ling Yin did afterward, she did not have an inkling about it. In Formidable Heaven's Dynasty, Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger in her arms and subsequently scanned her surroundings. Her brows furrowed deeply as she spoke slowly. Where's my wolf? Wolf! After hearing Yi Qingtang, the little white tiger was dumbfounded as well, and it instinctively inspected the surroundings. Right, where's your wolf? Previously, when they were bidding farewell to Ling Yin, the silver wolf was still following Yi Qingtang obediently. Why did it disappear in the blink of an eye? I'm asking you. Where's my wolf? Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger. Why are you asking me? How would I know where your wolf is? Do I help you to look after your wolf? The little white tiger was baffled. It was a fiend celestial beast, not a wolf-guarding beast. Yi Qingtang did not argue with the little white tiger and instead chose to trace back their footsteps. After searching the borders of the formidable Heavens dynasty for several days, the silver wolf was still nowhere to be found. As clearly seen, your wolf ran away. The little white tiger looked at Yi Qingtang and said. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly as she pondered. Such a case was not rare. It was not the first time either. They had not found any traces of the silver wolf over the past few days, and it might have run off somewhere, as it did before. After a fruitless search, Yi Qingtang could only give up as she thought that the silver wolf would return soon like the other time. Anyway, it was considered a common affair for Xiao Guai to run away. Presently, Yi Qingtang had entered the formidable Heavens dynasty. However, her current mood was different from when she left initially. She was forced and had no choice but to leave previously, but now that she had returned to the formidable Heavens dynasty again, no one could do anything to her. Where are we going now? The little white tiger poked its head out and asked curiously. After hearing the little white tiger's question, Yi Qingtang was in deep thought. Yi Qingtang originally intended to head to Xianling sect first, but eventually decided to return to Lintown first. It had already been more than a year since she left the Yi family of Lintown and headed to Xianling sect to cultivate. With a rough calculation, it had been almost 2 years since Yi Qingtang saw her father, Yi Ling, and she missed him dearly. There was a distance of several thousands of miles from the borders of formidable Heavens dynasty to Xianling sect, and from Xianling sect to Lintown. If an ordinary cultivator wished to rush to Lintown from their current location, he would require at least a month, even if he traveled day and night. Nonetheless, with Yi Qingtang's current cultivation base, she returned to Lintown in only half a day. There were not many changes in this small town. However, the town seemed to be more bustling and prosperous than 2 years ago, and businesses could be seen everywhere. Ever since the Long family came to Lintown, the Yi family and Si family have been on the decline. Yi Qingtang heard a few people conversing when she entered the town. In her previous life, she was chased after for her life by the Great Elder after her father died. Without any other means, she fled from Lintown and never returned since then. As such, she never heard of any news regarding Lintown. As for what Lintown experienced afterward, Yi Qingtang was not clear. It was thus strange for her when she heard people mentioning equals the Long family. What was the background of this Long family? Chapter 951 returned to Lintown too. However, the Long family's appearance is beneficial to Lintown as well. In the past year, Lintown is more prosperous than before, and the Long family's businesses are everywhere. A certain elderly laughed softly. Of course, the Long family is too powerful. The Si family and Yi family still dared to resist initially, but they don't even have the courage to fight back now. A young man commented. The Long family took over too many businesses from the Yi and Si family. Nearly half of the Yi and Si family's businesses were absorbed by the Long family. Look at the wise Duan family, which understood the times. Soon after the Long family rooted itself in Lintown, the Duan family leaned on the Long family and offered all their businesses to the Long family. Currently, the Duan family has become a subsidiary family clan of the Long family, but is also extremely wealthy and much more powerful than before. With the Long family's assistance, the Duan family has already beaten the Si and Yi family. Is that Long family really so powerful? The Yi and Si family have at least several hundreds of years of history in Lintown already. A person had a confused expression as he did not have much knowledge about the Long family. There are things you don't know. The clan master of the Long family is a mighty figure from another town and is at the half-step Yin-Yang perfected Lord realm. How can the Yi and Si family be able to fight against the Long family? If not for the fact that the Long family saw some exploitative use of the Yi and Si family, it would already have taken over them a long time ago. The elderly explained. What? Half-step Yin-Yang perfected Lord. After learning of Clan Master Long's martial skills, everyone was startled and in disbelief. Even the super-powerful cultivators and sects were not even at this realm. To the family clans in the town, one was already considered an unparalleled, powerful figure if one's skills could enter the martial chi level 2 realm. They had never seen a cultivator at martial chi level 3 before, not to mention a so-called half-step yin-yang perfected lord. To the masses, that was simply an invincible realm that existed only in legends. Long family. Yi Qingtang began thinking. She truly had no impression of the Long family at all. She did not think much about it, however. The Sea residence was right ahead, and Yi Qingtang headed over to meet the sis. When she was in Lin Town, the Sea family took great care of her, and she never forgot about. Who are you? Stop. A few guards at the entrance of a Sea residence immediately stopped Yi Qingtang. Notify Clan Master Sea that Yi Qingtang is here to pay a visit. Yi Qingtang told the few guards who prevented her from entering. Yi Qingtang, young Miss Yi of Yi family? The few guards were dumbfounded. Subsequently, one of them nodded and informed Yi Qingtang to wait for a moment. Before long, a young male in white walked out with a guard. Tang Tang, it's indeed you. The male in white was surprised to see Yi Qingtang. It had been almost 2 years since Yi Qingtang left Lin Town, and it was unexpected for her to return today. Brother Si, how have you been? Yi Qingtang looked at the male and asked with a smile. The male in white before her was the young master of the Si family, Si, whom Yi Qingtang was familiar with. Quick, come in with me. Si laughed and hurriedly led Yi Qingtang into the Si residence. Is grandfather Si in? After entering the Si residence, Yi Qingtang looked at Si Yi and asked, MHM, grandfather is at home. However, he was injured a while ago. Thus, he is unable to go out to receive you. Si Yi answered, Grandfather Si is injured? Yi Qingtang was taken aback. What happened? Chapter 952, Return to Lin Town 3. It's not serious, so please don't ask anymore. Si heaved a soft sigh. His voice was filled with resignation. Since she saw that Si Yi was unwilling to say more, Yi Qingtang did not pursue the matter. After a moment, Si Yi had led Yi Qingtang to the study. Grandfather, Tang Tang is here, said Si Yi. Come in. Master Si's voice could be heard from the study. The voice seemed a little weak. Si Yi immediately led Yi Qingtang into the study. The old man sitting in the study was Master Si. However, Master Si's temples were now graying. Compared to 2 years ago, he had aged greatly. Furthermore, his face was lacking some of its normal colors. With Yi Qingtang's ability, she could immediately tell that Master Si had suffered from a serious injury. Although he had recovered, it left behind some chronic ailments. Considering Master Si's age, an injury of this type was fatal. Tang Tang, when did you return? When Master Si saw Yi Qingtang, he immediately stood and smiled as he spoke to her. I just returned to Lin Town today. Yi Qingtang answered honestly. Tang Tang, I heard that you went to the Xianling sect to cultivate. Why do you have time to return? Master Si was somewhat surprised. Lin Town was thousands of miles from the Xianling sect. A return journey would take a very long time. Considering Yi Qingtang's situation, it was unrealistic for her to return to Lin Town under normal circumstances. A remote little town like Lin Town was unclear about the matters relating to the various sections. They could not possibly know about the changes that had taken place in the Xianling sect. It was as if the sects and secular society were two completely separate worlds. Tang Tang, could it be that you did not become an inner sect disciple of the Xianling sect? Si asked as he looked at Yi Qingtang. Half a year ago, Si and the others had planned to travel to the sect and participate in the sect assessment. However, events in the town had delayed them. Although a family in a small town did not quite understand the sects, they knew some of the basic rules. In order to enter a sect to cultivate, one first became an outer sect disciple. The so-called outer sect discipleship was actually an assessment period. One could only become an inner sect disciple by passing the assessment within the assessment period. However, out of 100 outer sect disciples, It was pretty good if even 5 became intersect disciples. Yi Qingtang's sudden return to Lin Town naturally caused speculation. Yi Qingtang smiled when she heard that. However, she did not wish to explain, as it would be too complicated. Instead, she simply kept quiet. Si Yi. Master Si immediately shot a displeased look at Si Yi. Even if Yi Qingtang had not passed the sect assessment to become an intersect disciple, Si Yi should not have asked so directly. Si Yi also knew that he had committed a faux pas and looked at Yi Qingtang apologetically. "It's all right, Grandfather Si." Yi Qingtang smiled. "That's right. Qingtang, have you gone home?" Master Si asked. "After I arrived in Lin Town, I came to visit Grandfather Si first, so I haven't gone home yet," said Yi Qingtang. Master Si nodded when he heard that. A contented expression surfaced on his face. "Grandfather Si, where is Si Bai?" Yi Qingtang had not seen a trace of Si Bai since her return to the Si family, and was rather curious. "Third brother is not home," laughed Si Yi. "A year ago, after you left Lin Town, Grandfather ordered someone to nurse third brother according to the method you left, and he is much better now." Chapter 953, Return to Lin Town. 4. Si Bai was extremely intelligent, but was born with a weak body. Fortunately, Yi Qingtang's help had managed to turn the course of his illness around. However, Si Bai had suffered too many losses in the past decades. Hence, Master Si had arranged for Si Bai to travel 1,000 miles away to somewhere where he could convalescence quietly, in hopes of speeding up his recovery. Si Bai had been convalescing there for more than a year. Yi Qingtang nodded when she heard Si Yes words. As they were speaking, Master Si coughed repeatedly, and blood seeped from the corner of his mouth. When he saw that, Si Yes' expression changed. Half a year ago, Master Si had been injured by a powerful cultivator from the Long family. Although his injuries had healed, he was old, and it was unavoidable that some chronic ailments remained. Grandfather Si's injury. Yi Qingtang looked at Master Si and asked, "It's all the doing of that Long family and that Duan family." Master Si grunted coldly. When he mentioned the two families, he gritted his teeth in hatred. Long family and Duan family. That was also Yi Qingtang's guess, but she was somewhat surprised to hear it from Master Si. Master Si sighed softly. "Tang Tang, you have left Lin Town for almost 2 years. There are many things that you don't know about. A year ago, the Long family moved into Lin Town. They were extremely domineering, and they exploited the Yi family and the Si family in many ways. We resisted a few times, and I was injured as a result. The Long family is just too powerful. Rumor has it that the head of the family is a half-step yin-yang perfected lord. We are helpless in the face of such a powerful cultivator." Si's face was filled with resignation. Si had intended to ask the city lord of Fallen Star City for help, but although they had sent many messages, they had not received a reply. There was no news of Musu. It was as if he had disappeared into thin air. Fortunately, the Long family had not annexed the Si family or the Yi family. It was as if the Si and Yi families were beneath them. After all, in the eyes of the Long family, these two families were as insignificant as ants. "Grandfather Si, let me examine your injuries," Yi Qingtang said to Master Si. Master Si sighed when he heard that. "My injuries have healed, but they gave rise to chronic ailments that I am unable to recover from." Without saying anything else, Yi Qingtang stepped forward and used her primordial qi to examine his body. Master Si's injuries had indeed healed. It was just that the chronic ailments were deeply rooted. If they were not completely eradicated, he would not live for many more years. "Grandfather, it's nothing. Just rest for a few more days, and I'm sure you'll be better." Si frowned as he spoke, but Master Si shook his head at Si's words. "Si, Grandfather is old, but not senile. I am well aware of my own body. He'll be lucky if I'm not dead within half a year. Now, Grandfather's greatest wish is for our Si family to be safe." Si gritted his teeth and clenched his fists, but he did not say a word. Of course, he knew about his grandfather's condition. Everyone knew that the Si family's third young master, Si Bai, was physically weak. However, they did not know that Master Si's health was now so poor. His grandfather's chronic ailments had previously been suppressed by elixirs. But now, the elixirs available on the market had long lost their effectiveness, and his chronic ailments would flare up every half a month. Grandfather C, I have an elixir. Yi Qingtang smiled and took out a fiery red healing elixir from her space ring. Chapter 954 Return to Lin Town. 5. Yi Qingtang had obtained this elixir from the dragon vein. Besides improving one's physique and constitution, it could rapidly increase the cultivation level of those below the grade of half-step yin-yang perfected lord. To Yi Qingtang, this type of elixir was so insignificant as to be almost worthless. However, to a family in a small town, it was a priceless treasure. Tang Tang, don't waste it. Master C immediately shook his head. As he had said earlier, he was well aware of his state of health. In his current state, any elixir would be wasted on him. Grandfather C, I have plenty of this type of elixir, said Yi Qingtang. Tang Tang, actually grandfather's chronic ailments are very serious. Elixirs no longer have any effect. Now, we can only nurse him, said C. This elixir can probably cure grandfather Cis injuries. Yi Qingtang did not keep her elixir and handed it over to Master C. All right, since it's a token of Tang Tang's good intentions, grandfather will accept it. Master C took the scarlet elixir from Yi Qingtang's hand. Grandfather C, eat the medicine. Yi Qingtang smiled. Tang Tang, it is not yet time for grandfather to take his medicine. C looked at Yi Qingtang. It doesn't matter. This elixir can be taken at any time and will instantly cure you, replied Yi Qingtang when he heard Yi Qingtang's words. Master C did not allow C to say anything else. He immediately popped the elixir into his mouth. The moment the scarlet elixir entered Master C's mouth, it immediately transformed into a current of air. The next instant, an indescribable burning current of air rushed into Master C's limbs, bones, and meridians. As the burning current rushed in, all the chronic ailments in Master C's body were completely washed away. His body and energy were unimaginably improved. His body let out a sound like the popping of cooked beans. After a long time, Master C's color returned to normal. It was no longer as weak and pale as before. Grandfather, C was shocked when he saw the surprise on his grandfather's face. He was rooted to the spot and could not help but call out an alarm. This, at C's soft call, Master C returned to his senses. He stared at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. Tang Tang, this elixir of yours. Master C had never encountered such a miraculous elixir in his life. In just a moment, it had completely swept away all his extremely serious chronic ailments. Even his cultivation level, which had reached a bottleneck many years ago, seemed to show faint signs of a breakthrough. What kind of miraculous elixir was this? Why, does Grandfather C like the taste and want to try it again? Yi Qingtang was in a good mood when she saw that Master C had recovered his old self. Tang Tang, don't tease, this elixir is so valuable. Even if you don't keep it for yourself, how can you casually give it to me? Chapter 955 Return to Lin Town. 6. Tang Tang, surely you haven't taken Xianling Sec's authentic, precious, immortal elixir? Master C looked at Yi Qingtang gravely. Yi Qingtang could not help but laugh when she heard that. She did not show any sign of being offended. The fact that Master C could say these things showed that he treated her like one of his family. Grandfather C, you don't need to worry. I didn't steal it from the Xianling sect, said Yi Qingtang. She naturally knew what Master C was worried about. AI, since that is so, you should have kept this wonderful immortal elixir. Master C's heart still ached at the waist. Grandfather C, these things have not much value to me, explained Yi Qingtang. No value. Master C was taken aback when he heard Yi Qingtang's words. It was as if he had misheard. However, Master C very quickly understood that this was just Yi Qingtang's excuse. That's right. Yi Qingtang took a red bottle from her space ring. There were approximately 50 scarlet elixirs in it. Grandfather C, this is for you. Master C looked suspicious. He took the red bottle that Yi Qingtang handed to him and opened it. When he saw the contents of the bottle, He was stunned and could not believe his eyes. The red bottle was filled with the scarlet elixir he had taken just now. Just as Master C was staring at it blankly, Yi Qingtang took a premium yellow-grade weapon from her space ring. "Elder brother Yi, I think this sword suits you, so I'll give it to you." Yi took the sword and studied it. His pupils contracted violently in disbelief. In the entire Lin town, or even in its 10 neighboring cities, a premium yellow-grade weapon had never appeared before. Even Clan Master Long, a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, only carried a sword that was a superior yellow-grade weapon. But what Yi Qingtang had given him was a premium yellow-grade. Yi was ashen. He almost subconsciously returned the premium yellow-grade weapon to Yi Qingtang. "What's the matter? Don't you like it, elder brother Yi?" Yi Qingtang looked at Yi. "This sword is not great, but black-gray divine weapons are not easy to control. Also, in a sense, this sword is not inferior to ordinary black-gray divine weapons." No. Tang, you can't do this. It's too valuable." Yi shook his head repeatedly. Although he desperately wished to accept this premium yellow-grade weapon, logic told Yi that he could not do so. Yi's emotions were momentarily thrown into turmoil. He could not accept such a valuable gift from Yi Qingtang for no reason. In Yi's eyes, a premium yellow-grade weapon was as valuable as a divine weapon. It would be the same as someone giving Yi Qingtang a heaven-level divine weapon for no reason. But Yi did not know that Yi Qingtang's space ring contained innumerable weapons of this grade. What he considered to be a divine weapon was no different from a piece of scrap metal in Yi Qingtang's eyes. "It's not valuable. Please accept it." Yi Qingtang threw the premium yellow-grade weapon over to Yi. Yi's martial talent was quite good. The sword he currently carried was an ordinary weapon forged in a weapon shop. With Yi's martial ability, a premium yellow-grade weapon would cause him to level up by more than one grade. At that moment, Yi's emotions were in turmoil. This premium yellow-grade weapon was just too valuable. If he accepted it. However, Yi's eyes remained glued to the premium yellow-grade weapon in his hand. Chapter 956 Return to Lin Town 7. Yi Qingtang quickly took out a jet-black bronze longbow from her space ring. She placed them in Master Ci's hand, together with a few dozen black arrows. At that moment, Master C was still staring at the dozens of scarlet immortal elixirs in the bottle when he felt something ice-cold in his right hand. He subconsciously glanced downward and studied the black bronze longbow in his hand. Premium yellow-grade bronze arrow and premium yellow-grade bronze arrows. At that moment, Master C was completely stunned. Master C loved hunting, and among the various weapons, he was especially skilled at archery. He had a collection of a few dozen longbows in his house. However, very few cultivators in the secular world could use the bow, and similarly, few were trained in archery. It was rare to see a longbow of slightly higher quality. Even among the sex, a yellow-grade longbow seldom appeared, and a premium yellow-grade longbow made of bronze was unheard of. Among the longbows, those made of bronze were the rarest. Besides the bronze longbow, there were also a few dozen arrows, all made of bronze. Each bronze arrow was of premium yellow-grade level and could be used repeatedly. Tang, this. Master C looked at Yi Qingtang in shock and disbelief. It was impossible to estimate the value of a premium yellow-grade bronze longbow, and with a few dozen premium arrows included. Grandfather C, I know you are especially skilled in archery and have collected many bows in your home. I especially look for this bow for you. The arrows have an aura of frost and are fairly powerful. Even a martial level 3 cultivator will be instantly frozen if he comes into contact with the aura of frost, Yi Qingtang said. In this mainland, there were very few cultivators who were versed in archery. Master C had been an expert marksman when he was young. Now, with this premium yellow-grade bronze bow and arrow, he would be fairly formidable. Tang, these things are just too valuable. If you have no use for them, give them to your father. Right now, your Yi family urgently needs these things, Master C said hurriedly. Although Master C did not know where Yi Qingtang had found these startling treasures. If Yi Qingtang did not mention it, then Master C also would not pursue the matter. No need. Yi Qingtang immediately shook her head. Grandfather C, I have many other items like that, and the Yi family can't possibly use them all. You should just accept them, unless you don't like them? Don't like. Master C and C Yi were both stunned. They had never seen treasures of this grade in their lives. They would love to sleep next to them. How could they not like them? Tang Tang, do you really want to give this to grandfather? Master C looked shocked. Even the current Long family probably had nothing like that. Of course. Yi Qingtang nodded. Tang Tang, thank you. Master C saw that Yi Qingtang was determined and did not refuse further. He could not bear to let go of the bottle of scarlet elixirs and the bow and arrows. To him, they were like precious treasures. Grandfather C, these elixirs are enough for your skills to break through to the half-step Yin-Yang perfected Lord stage within half a year. At that time, you'll be a force to reckon with when you use this bow, Yi Qingtang said laughingly. Half-step Yin-Yang perfected Lord. Chapter 9, 57 Yi Family 1. Both Master C and C Yi were stunned when they heard Yi Qingtang's words. They had never thought of achieving this level in their lifetime. By the time they both snapped out of their trance, they realized that Yi Qingtang had vanished and left the Sea House. After leaving the Sea House, Yi Qingtang went straight to the Yi House. She had not been back for more than a year. She wondered how her father and his second uncle were. As she walked along the familiar streets to the main gate of the Yi House, she saw two unfamiliar servants guarding the entrance. Yi Qingtang walked directly towards the main gate of the Yi House. When the two guards saw that someone wanted to enter the Yi House, they immediately blocked her way. This is the Yi House. Miss, do you have any business here? One man asked. I'm going home. Yi Qingtang gaze brushed past these two guards, whom she had not seen before. Going home. The two of them were stunned. One of them was a young man who stared at Yi Qingtang's features for a while, as if he had suddenly thought of something. You are the eldest young lady, Yi Qingtang? Yes. Yi Qingtang nodded. The two of them immediately exchanged glances and snapped out of their trance. The two of them had been in the Yi family for a year and had often heard Second Elder and the master of the Yi family mention the eldest young lady, Yi Qingtang. They heard that the eldest young lady had gone to the Xianling sect. They had occasionally seen a picture of the eldest young lady that hung in the master's room, but they had not seen her in person. We didn't know that eldest young lady was coming home and were remiss in our welcome. The two of them bowed immediately. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly and walked into the Yi house that she had left a year ago. Everything in the Yi house was just as she had left it, but there were many unfamiliar faces in the house. Yi Qingtang did not see her father, Yi Ling, or second elder in the living room, so she went to Yi Ling's study. Yi Ling was sitting in the study, his brow deeply furrowed. Second elder was sitting next to him with a grave expression. The two of them were sitting in silence when someone suddenly pushed open the door. Yi Ling subconsciously looked up with a frown, but what he saw caused him to almost drop the file in his hand. Tang Tang! Yi Ling was surprised and overjoyed when his daughter suddenly appeared before his eyes. Father, second uncle. Yi Qingtang looked at the two familiar faces before her, and a sincere smile involuntarily surfaced in her eyes. Tang Tang, why are you back? When second elder saw that Yi Qingtang had returned, his expression was one of surprise and joy. They had not seen Yi Qingtang for almost 2 years after she left for the Xianling sect. I was homesick. Doesn't father and second uncle want to see me? A trace of a smile appeared on Yi Qingtang's face. It was as if she had momentarily forgotten all her fatigue and busyness in the outer world. She could only truly relax in the Yi house, among her own kin. What are you saying? Your father has missed you desperately for the whole year. Can't you see that your picture is hung in his study every day? If he doesn't look at it at least a few times every day, he would be at a loss. Second elder's grave expression had vanished slowly with Yi Qingtang's return. Yi Qingtang's gaze swept across the interior of the study. Her picture really hung on one wall. Don't listen to your second uncle's nonsense. Sit down. Yi Ling laughed and shook his head, but when he looked at Yi Qingtang, his eyes were filled with concern. Has everything been all right with you while you were with the Xianling sect? Everything has been fine. Thank you, Father, for your concern. Yi Qingtang laughed as she spoke. In order to avoid worrying her father, she did not say any more. Chapter 958 Yi Family 2. That's good. Yi Ling nodded his head in relief. Yi Qingtang could smell the faint smell of medicine. She followed the smell and looked towards the study table in front of Yi Ling. A bowl of brown medicine was sitting on the study table. Has father been ill recently? Why are you drinking medicine? Before she left the Yi house, Yi Qingtang had neutralized the slow-acting poison which the Yi family's great elder had used to poison Yi Ling. She had also given him a few prescriptions to improve his health before she left. Yi Ling only needed to follow the prescriptions for half a year to recover all the ground he had lost. Why was he still eating medicine now? A strange look flashed across Yi Ling's face, but he laughed and said, "It's nothing serious." He raised his hand and pushed the bowl of medicine away from Yi Qingtang. Before Yi Qingtang could continue, Yi Ling changed the subject and said, "Although it's good to miss home, you have only just entered the Xianling sect. Don't be too casual. The sect has many rules. You'd better not spend too long outside it. I've just come back, and now, father wants to drive me away?" Yi Qingtang was sharp enough to read between the lines of her father's words. It was clear that her father did not want her to stay with them for too long. "This is your home. Who could drive you away? I am merely afraid that the sect will blame you. After, it was not easy to enter the Xianling sect. You are now a disciple of the Xianling sect and must naturally make good use of this opportunity," Yi Ling said as he sighed softly. Just as Yi Ling finished speaking, a knocking was heard from the study door. "Master, second elder, the great elder is inviting you over for a discussion." A voice could be heard from beyond the door. The great elder? Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback when she heard this. If she remembered correctly, the great elder had died long ago. Second elder said, "Tang Tang, many changes have taken place in the Yi family since you left. The great elder of the Yi family is no longer Yi Yu's grandfather, but someone your father and I invited." With that, second elder rose and said, "I'll go first. You and your father have not seen each other for a long time. There is no need to rush over. You go and take a look first. I'll follow in a while," Yi Ling said. With that, second elder left the study. "Father, the great elder was invited by you and second uncle?" Yi Qingtang looked at Yi Ling. When she had first reached the Yi house, she had realized that many unfamiliar faces had appeared in the Yi house. Yi Ling nodded slightly and said, "That's right, we invited him." Yi Ling immediately said, "In the past, Yi Yu's grandfather was very ambitious and tried to control the Yi family. After you got rid of him, your second uncle and I also took the opportunity to cleanse the Yi family of his followers. The Yi family had been in a precarious state. The death of Yi Yu's grandfather had rid the Yi family of latent danger. However, it had also been a major setback, and many of its elite members were driven from the Yi family, causing a great loss of the Yi family's power. After a long discussion between Yi Ling and second elder on how to restore the Yi family, second elder had invited two powerful people to settle in the Yi family and take up the position of elder within the Yi family. The current new great elder was one of the powerful men who had been invited. The other received the honorific of third elder. Besides entering the Yi family, these two new elders also brought their offspring and disciples into the Yi family. Their entry had slowly caused the Yi family's decline. Chapter 959 Yi Family 3. Yi Qingtang quietly listened to what her father said. Considering the Yi family's present circumstances, her father and second uncle's strategy was correct. The Yi family was one of the three major aristocratic families in Lintown. It certainly could not depend solely on Yi Ling, who had recently recovered from his injuries, and second elder to prop it up. In her previous life, Yi Yu's grandfather had harmed her father and second uncle, and the Yi family had fallen into their enemies' hands. In this life, everything had changed. However, Yi Qingtang was unfamiliar with the two new elders. After some small talk with Yi Qingtang, Yi Ling stood up. Perhaps the great elder has something to discuss. We'll go have a look. He'll go with you, father, said Yi Qingtang. Yi Ling looked a little hesitant, but when he met Yi Qingtang's bright eyes, he could only nod calmly. After they left the study, Yi Ling said to Yi Qingtang earnestly, Tang Tang, it was really not easy for you to enter the Xinling sect. As your father, my only wish is for you to peacefully cultivate within the sect. If you have the opportunity one day to enter the inner sect, that would be the best, but if that is not possible, then I hope you will be safe and at peace. Yi Ling had not expected Yi Qingtang to suddenly return in the midst of trouble. However, he was truly unwilling for his own daughter to be dragged into this matter. I understand, father. Yi Qingtang nodded. Yi Ling did not say anything more and immediately led Yi Qingtang away from the study, towards the main hall of the Yi house. Second elder was sitting in the main hall of the Yi house with a solemn expression. By his side sat two old men, both over 50 years of age. The Duan family has become increasingly daring of late, the old man, sitting at the head of the table, said with a frown. His name was Dan Haoqing. He had extremely good martial skills and talent, and he was second elder's fellow disciple under the same master. However, after second elder had completed his studies, he had returned to the Yi family to take up the position of elder, while Dan Haoqing had continued his cultivation. A year ago, second elder had personally invited this senior brother to the Yi family to take up the position of great elder of the Yi family. What about the Duan family? Aren't they just depending on the Long family for support? If not for that, we have nothing to fear from the Duan family, another old man said gravely. This old man was called Feng Qingyun. He was on good terms with Dan Haoqing and was also very powerful. When second elder had invited Dan Haoqing to join the Yi family, he had also invited Feng Qingyun along. Now, he was the third elder of the Yi family. The two of them were very powerful. Even second elder, who used to have the best martial skill in the Yi family, was no match for them. Just as third elder said, there was nothing to fear from the Duan family in the past. However, the Duan family of today has the support of the Long family. From what I know, the Long family has given the Duan family much help. Even the Duan family's oldest son has broken through to the second heaven of martial chi level 1 with their help. Second elder was frowning deeply and looked uneasy. Second elder spent half his life immersed in martial skills and had gone through many hardships in his cultivation. But until today, he had only reached the first heaven of martial chi level 1. However, the eldest son of the Duan family was only in his early 20s and had already reached the second heaven of martial chi level 1. One must know that a year ago, the Duan family's eldest son, Duan Tianyun, was merely a Khanate level 8. Now, with the Long family's help, he had risen to the second heaven of martial chi level 1 within a year. Except for the Long family, in the entire Lin town, few elders among the three greatest family clans were currently a match for Duan Tianyun, much less the younger generation. Chapter 960 Yi Family 4. Second elder had specially invited Dan Haoqing and Feng Qingyun to take command of the Yi family, but they were only at the same level as Duan Tianyun's second heaven of martial chi level 1. However, they might be more experienced than Duan Tianyun. However, one must know that Duan Tianyun was not the only person in the Duan family to have leveled up. The Long family has a long history, and its grand elder is a half-step yin-yang perfected lord. With a background like that, even if they gave the Duan family a little help, it would be priceless to the Duan family, the grand elder said with a frown. Will the Duan family really make trouble for us? Although they are usually arrogant, they are as obedient as young children in the presence of the Long family. Third elder laughed coldly. He seemed rather disdainful of the way the Duan family had acted. All the great family clans had existed for centuries. Whether big or small, they maintained their dignity. But not long after they met the Long family, the Duan family had shamelessly and repeatedly tried to curry the Long family's favor. Now, they had reaped the benefits and were throwing their weight around Lin Town. They no longer had any regard for the Yi family or the Si family. With the help of the Long family, the Duan family had become increasingly arrogant. For the Long family to have helped the Duan family to suddenly create so many powerful cultivators above the level of Martial Chi Level 1, the Duan family must have expended a lot of effort to curry their favor, said Second Elder with a sigh. As they were discussing the matter, Yi Ling entered the main hall with Yi Qingtang in tow. The two new elders glanced at Yi Ling when he walked into the main hall, and their eyes fell on Yi Qingtang, who was walking behind Yi Ling. They had been in the Yi family for some time and had naturally been to Yi Ling's study many times. Of course, they remembered the painting hanging in Yi Ling's study. Wasn't the girl in the painting the same as the person behind Yi Ling? The two of them had learned from the household guards that the eldest young lady of the Yi family, Yi Qingtang, had returned. They glanced at her and saw a beautiful young girl. Although she was astonishingly beautiful, her slightly immature features and frail body were no different from that of an ordinary girl. "Master, is this the eldest young lady?" Third Elder asked as he looked at Yi Qingtang, who was standing behind Yi Ling. Yi Ling smiled and nodded. He said to Yi Qingtang, "Tang Tang, this is Third Elder, Feng Qingyan. This is the Great Elder, Dan Haoqing." "Greetings, Great Elder and Third Elder." Yi Qingtang spoke politely. The two elders nodded slightly. They did not pay much attention to the return of this eldest young lady. They had previously heard much about the eldest young lady of the Yi family. They knew that Yi Qingtang had entered the Xianling sect and became an outer sect disciple. However, this was nothing special and did not mean much to them. An outer sect disciple of the Xianling sect would not be able to solve their current problems. But at the mention of the sects, the Third Elder seemed to recall something. He turned and looked at the Great Elder. "Great Elder, do you know when your grandson will reach Lin Town? Barring unforeseen circumstances, he will be here in 2 days," replied the Great Elder. The Duan family had received much help from the Long family in recent times, and the progress of the younger generation had been startling. Besides Duan Tanyun, who had progressed rapidly to the second heaven of Martial Chi Level 1, a few younger members of the Duan family had also progressed very quickly. A month ago, a younger member of the Duan family had arrogantly gone to the Yi house to make trouble. This young member of the Duan family's natural talent was average, but with the help of the Long family, he had rapidly progressed to the first heaven of Martial Chi Level 1. That day, he had come to the Yi house and challenged all the younger members of the Yi family. Even the disciples that the two elders had brought along had been defeated at his hands. He had then recklessly mocked the Yi family for its lack of talent. Chapter 9, 61 Boy Genius 1. The Great Elder naturally felt that he could not allow the Yi family to be embarrassed like that, so he had sent word to his grandson in the far-off Leitang sect to hurry back to Lin Town to hold the fort. "That's great. Great Elder, since your grandson is an inner sect disciple of the Leitang sect, if he can return, the Duan family won't dare to be so arrogant," Third Elder said with a smile. All the younger members of the Yi family who were present in the main hall looked pleased when they heard that the Great Elder's grandson was returning. Most of them were brought here by the two elders and naturally knew about the Great Elder's grandson. The Leitang sect was one of the sects in the formidable Heavens dynasty. It was comparable with the Xianling sect in terms of power, but it was situated near the northern border and was in a different area from the Xianling sect, Qinglin sect, and the Windmoon sect. The Great Elder's grandson was called Dan Yifan. He was naturally talented and had a superior green spirit root. He was only 17 or 18 years old, but had already become an inner sect disciple in the Leitang sect. The younger members of the Yi family, who had been oppressed by the Duan family, now pinned their hopes on Dan Yifan returning to stand up for them. Yi Ling was a little relieved when he heard the news, but did not notice that Yi Qingtang, who was standing behind him, had a rather odd expression on her face. At that moment, a Yi family servant entered with news. "Master, Elders, young Master Dan has returned." When everyone in the main hall heard the news, their faces lit with joy. "Speak of the devil." Third Elder looked pleased as he turned to look at the Great Elder. The Great Elder's face also showed a hint of a smile. When the younger members in the audience heard the news, they immediately rushed out to welcome him. One must know that before Dan Yifan had entered the sect, he had long been idolized by this group as a boy genius. In a moment, a handsome young man dressed in green and surrounded by a crowd walked in slowly. His face showed a hint of a smile. When he stepped into the main hall, he bowed to the great elder. "Grandfather, I have come." "Good, good, good." The great elder looked at his grandson who had arrived in time, his eyes filled with contentment. The great elder then introduced the others to his grandson. "This is your grandfather Phone, whom you have met before. This is the second elder of the Yi family." Dan Yifun nodded blandly when he saw second elder. "This is the master of the Yi family." Dan Yifun nodded slightly in acknowledgement. "And this is the master's daughter and the eldest young lady of the Yi family," continued the great elder. Dan Yifun only glanced at Yi Qingtang. For the past few years, he had been cultivating in the Leitang sect without leaving it at all. From letters that his grandfather had sent to him, he had learned about his grandfather joining the Yi family, including some of the circumstances surrounding the Yi family. "I heard that eldest young lady has already entered the Xianling sect." Dan Yifun spoke smilingly. He already had a general idea of the Yi family situation from the great elder's letters. Of course, he also knew that the Yi family's eldest young lady had entered the Xianling sect a year ago and had become an outer sect disciple. Yes, Yi Qingtang spoke blandly. She had no special feelings towards this Dan Yifun, whom everyone idolized. The Leitang sect where I am situated is tens of thousands of miles away from the Xianling sect. However, they're all sections. If you encounter anything you don't understand in your martial studies in the future, I may be able to help you a little. Dan Yifun spoke frankly, but his words were filled with arrogance. Chapter 962, Boy Genius 2. Dan Yifun was now an inner sect disciple of the Leitang sect, and his ability was naturally greater than average. Although Yi Qingtang had entered the Xianling sect, everyone knew that her spirit root was only a lowly red spirit root. It was already difficult for her to enter the sect, but she probably would not have the opportunity to enter the inner sect of the Xianling sect in her lifetime. If Dan Yifun was willing to give a pointer or two, anyone would consider it a wonderful blessing. Yi Qingtang looked expressionlessly at the youth before her with his arrogant brow. "No need to bother you," Yi Qingtang said blandly. Dan Yifun raised his brows slightly. Clearly, he had not expected Yi Qingtang to reject him so curtly. One must know that within the sects, the inner and outer sects were separated by a great divide. An outer sect disciple usually had no opportunity to even converse with an inner sect disciple. However, Dan Yifun did not take this matter to heart. He had merely made the offer as a favor to the Yi family. "Yifun, did you obtain leave from your sect to return?" The great elder looked at his grandson, whom he was so proud of. "I have already made arrangements with my master. However, I cannot stay for long and will have to return to the sect after half a month at the most. My master is bringing me into the sacred ground of the Leitang sect to cultivate next month, and this cannot be delayed for too long," said Dan Yifun. "Of course, the sect takes precedence." The great elder nodded slightly. "I have already made the situation with the Duan family clear in my letter. Do you understand?" Dan Yifun laughed softly and said, "Grandfather, don't worry. Since I have returned and am now considered part of the Yi family, of course, I won't allow anyone to bully you. The truth is that I already broke through to the first heaven of martial chi level 1 a year ago. So, grandfather, please don't worry." The eyes of everyone in the main hall brightened when they heard Dan Yifun's words. One must know that Dan Yifun was currently only 17 or 18 and was considered very young. For him to have broken through to the first heaven of martial chi level 1 meant he truly deserved to be called a genius. Even Yi Ling and second elder, who were sitting by the side, looked at Dan Yifun in amazement. "Since that is the case, I won't worry anymore." The great elder nodded and smiled. His eyes were filled with pride. How talented was he to be able to enter the first heaven of martial chi level 1 at the age of 17 or 18. With Dan Yifun's talent, given time, he would have no trouble breaking through to martial chi level 2 in the future. However, just as everyone in the Yi family was rejoicing in Dan Yifun's arrival, a Yi family guard suddenly rushed in. Master and elders, the Duan family. Someone from the Duan family is at the door. Humph, they are really arrogant. This Duan family is going too far. The great elder expression darkened, and he frowned deeply. When Dan Yifan saw the great elder's expression, he immediately said, "Grandfather, is this the youth from the Duan family that you mentioned in your letter?" "That's right." The great elder nodded slightly. "Not long ago, this person sought out the Yi family and injured many of us. He is really arrogant. I'm afraid he's here to make trouble again." Dan Yifan laughed softly. His gaze swept across everyone in the main hall as he said, "No problem. Since I've returned, I won't permit anyone to make trouble. Grandfather, why don't we go take a look at this Duan family member together?" Chapter 963, Boy Genius 3. When the great elder heard this, his expression grew warmer. A trace of a smile surfaced in his eyes when he looked at his grandson. When the younger members of the Yi family heard what Dan Yifan said, an expectant look surfaced in their eyes. Did the Duan family really think they could bully them? Little did they know that Dan Yifan had returned to the Yi family. It was time for a showdown with those bastards from the Duan family. With that, everyone from the Yi family exited the main hall and walked towards the courtyard. A few members from the Duan family were standing in the courtyard. They were at most in their early 20s, but all of them had haughty expressions. They stood blatantly in the Yi family courtyard without showing any signs of fear. The leader of the group from the Duan family was a youth in his early 20s. He lifted his chin slightly, and his eyes filled with disdain when he looked at the approaching group from the Yi family. "Well, has the Yi family completed its preparations?" The young leader asked impatiently. After the Long family had settled in Lin Town, its formidable power had firmly established it as the foremost family clan. The original 3 great family clans had lost the glory of their former days. Instead, the Duan family, who had curried favor with the Long family, now used their connections to bully others. Under the Long family's banner, they had blatantly demanded tribute from the Si family and the Yi family. This youth had previously come knocking at the Yi family's door. The Yi family had ignored him, but unexpectedly, he then provoked all the younger members of the Yi family and started a fight. Yi Ling frowned slightly, and the elders looked displeased. When Dan Yifan saw what was going on, he immediately stepped forward. He had already learned about the Duan family's doings from the letter the great elder had sent him. "Your Duan family need not stretch out its hands for our Yi family's belongings," said Dan Yifan coldly. The youth from the Duan family looked up and saw the unfamiliar Dan Yifan. He frowned impatiently. "Who are you? What right do you have to speak here? Hasn't the Yi family learned the meaning of fear? Or was it their skin itching again?" With that, the youth from the Duan family rolled up his sleeves and clenched his fists. This youth was the eldest grandson of the Duan family's elder. He had some natural talent, but he was originally no more than a Khanate level 5. However, with the Long family's help, he had improved drastically within a year. Last month, he had broken through to the first heaven of martial chi level 1. Based on ability, he was currently ranked 3rd among the younger members of the Duan family. "I think the person with itchy skin is you." Dan Yifan laughed coldly, and a cold light flashed across his eyes. "You are just an idiot who recently stepped into the first heaven of martial chi level 1, yet you dare to boast here." The youth from the Duan family looked grim. "You are really not afraid to die. Since the Yi family doesn't know what is good for it, I don't mind teaching you the rules of Lin Town." With that, the youth from the Duan family forced his energy to circulate around his body. As his inner chi flowed through his body, he immediately drew the sword at his waist. A gust of sword breath immediately shot out from his sword. Dan Yifan looked coldly at the oncoming gust of sword breath. His eyes showed no trace of fear. His lips curved slightly in a mocking arch. Then he suddenly drew his sword, and a red glow flooded the blade of his sword. The next instant, Dan Yifan casually struck with his sword. A red glow flew outwards and dispersed the oncoming sword breath. A deafening sound suddenly erupted in the Yi family's courtyard. Chapter 964 Boy Genius 3. The red glow itself did not scatter after dispersing the sword breath. Instead, it headed straight for the youth from the Duan family. The youth from the Duan family had not expected his sword breath to be broken. He could see a red glow suddenly approach, but before he could react, the red glow struck at him. He only had time to raise his sword and block the oncoming red glow. However, the red glow smashed down with the force of a huge rock. It fell from above, smashing viciously into him. The huge impact instantly sent the youth from the Duan family flying. The sword in his hand broke on the spot. He fell heavily to the ground, and a bloody wound formed on his chest. Everyone in the courtyard was stunned by this scene. Dan Yifun's casual stroke of the sword had heavily injured the youth from the Duan family. One must know that this youth from the Duan family had previously beaten all the younger members of the Yi family until they were unable to retaliate. The members of the Yi family who had been defeated by this youth from the Duan family finally felt vindicated when they saw their opponent collapse pathetically on the ground. At that moment, they finally understood how powerful Dan Yifun was. Even Yi Ling and the elders from the Yi family could not help but look gratified when they saw this scene. They had heard Dan Yifun say that he had broken through to the first heaven of martial qi level 1 a year ago. But the youth from the Duan family was also at the first heaven of martial qi level 1. Although they were at the same stage, they were world apart. The person from the Duan family had only broken through a month ago, and his foundations were still weak. He had not yet completely grasped the power of the martial qi level 1 realm. On the other hand, Dan Yifun was already at the peak of the first heaven of martial qi level 1. He would probably enter the second heaven of martial qi level 1 soon. Everyone from the Yi family rejoiced. However, the members of the Duan family who had accompanied the youth were shocked. They had not expected to find someone so formidable among the younger members of the Yi family. With that, the few members of the Duan family, who looked so threatening just a moment ago, now looked rather odd. They hurried forward and helped the youth up from the ground. The youth's face was twisted with pain. The wound on his chest throbbed with agonizing pain. He lifted his eyes to look at the prideful Dan Yifun. "Who are you?" Since when had someone above the level of martial qi level 1 appeared among the younger members of the Yi family? One must know that based on their understanding, the younger members of the Yi family were at most around Khanate level 6. Where had this person popped up from? Dan Yifun suavely sheathed his sword. He lifted his chin slightly and looked at the youth from the Duan family. "Remember me. I am Dan Yifun, the grandson of the Yi family's great elder. As long as I am here, the Duan family better not bother the Yi family." "Very well, Dan Yifun. Just wait and see." The youth panted as he glared at Dan Yifun. With that, he led the others from the Duan family and slunk out of the Yi house. After the Duan family left, the Yi family disciples, who had been repressing their comments, immediately surrounded Dan Yifun. Now that young Master Dan is back, the Duan family won't dare to be so arrogant. Chapter 965 Boy Genius 4. What a delightful beating. Did you see how arrogant that fellow from the Duan family was when he came? But now, young Master Dan, with just one stroke of your sword, you sent him sprawling, and he couldn't even get up. Let's see if he dares to come back to the Yi house. The young people of the Yi family surrounded Dan Yifun, chattering away and praising him. Was a genius. This was a real genius. Dan Yifun was a few years younger than many of them, but they could not hope to measure up to his ability in their lifetime. The great elder was very pleased with Dan Yifun's performance and could not help smiling faintly. "Grandfather and Master, please don't worry. If the Duan family makes trouble again, I will send them packing," Dan Yifun said bluntly. The elders and Yi Ling nodded. When the Duan family had made trouble, they had only involved the younger generation, so it was inappropriate for the master and elders to be involved. "Young Master Dan, what was that sword that you used? It seemed very powerful." A youth from a Yi family stared curiously at the sword at Dan Yifun's side. "Are you talking about my blazing sun sword?" Dan Yifun smiled and unbuckled the sword at his side. He unsheathed it before everyone's eyes. Clank! The blade suddenly rang out as the sharp sword was unsheathed. It glittered with a blinding light. Flame-like reliefs could be faintly seen on the blade. A good sword. When Yi Ling saw the sword, his eyes brightened. "This sword looks extraordinary," said Second Elder. Dan Yifan laughed and said, "This sword was personally given to me by my master. It is an inferior yellow grade weapon." Inferior yellow grade? Everyone was shocked by Dan Yifan's words. A yellow grade weapon had not appeared in Lintown for many years. Even those that had surfaced recently belonged to the Long family. Since when had the other major families seen a divine weapon of this grade? With that, everyone turned their fervent gaze to the blazing sun sword. "Young Master Dan, isn't a yellow grade weapon quite powerful?" The disciples of the Yi family seldom had a chance to see a yellow grade weapon, much less witness its power. Just now, Dan Yifan had only casually swung the sword, so they had not been able to carefully observe the power of the blazing sun sword. Of course, an ordinary weapon cannot compare with a yellow grade weapon. Dan Yifan smiled as he spoke. Even among the sects, very few disciples possess one. It is truly powerful. All the youths stared unswervingly at Dan Yifan's blazing sun sword. They would probably never possess a divine weapon like that in their lifetime. "Young Master Dan, your master must think very highly of you to give you such a valuable sword," said a youth enviously. Dan Yifan smiled. Although he did not say anything, his expression showed his pride. He suddenly took out a sword from his space ring. "This was the original sword I carried. Although it does not have any grade, it's a pretty good weapon." As he spoke, Dan Yifan suddenly stretched out his hand and pushed the sword in front of Yi Qingtang, who had remained silently by the side. Since eldest young lady has entered a sect, then she should have a good sword by her side. "This sword is for you." Dan Yifan smiled as he spoke. Although his sword had no grade, he had obtained it when he was part of the outer sect of the Xianling sect, so it was naturally superior to an ordinary weapon. Chapter 966, Another Incident. 1. Yi Qingtang looked at the sword that was being placed before her. Her eyes did not even flicker. "How could we accept such an item?" said Yi Ling. "Master, please don't stand on ceremony with me. My grandfather is currently an elder in the Yi family, and I'm also a member of the Yi family. Also, if I can help the eldest young lady in any way, I am happy to do so." Dan Yifan spoke smilingly. Then, he raised his eyes and looked at Yi Qingtang, who still had not reached out to accept the sword. "Eldest young lady, please don't stand on ceremony. I acknowledge your good intentions." Yi Qingtang looked at the sword that had been handed to her. She did not know whether to laugh or to cry, but her face showed no sign of her thoughts. "I also have a sword which I obtained recently, and am used to it." When Dan Yifan heard this, his gaze involuntarily fell on the sword at Yi Qingtang's waist. He could not tell the origins of the sword, but looked very ordinary. However, since Yi Qingtang had said so, Dan Yifan could not force her to take the sword. Everything he did was only a formality, and he only did it because Yi Qingtang was the eldest young lady of the Yi family. "In that case, I won't force you." Dan Yifan spoke laughingly. However, before he could store the sword away, another youth from the Yi family stepped forward. "Elder brother Dan, could you give the sword you had to me?" This youth was the great elder's disciple. Since young, he had been an ardent admirer of the talented Dan Yifan. "Why not? Take it then, but remember not to neglect your cultivation." Dan Yifan responded frankly and handed the sword over to the youth. The youth took the sword, and his eyes filled with joy and surprise. He reverently held the sword in his arms. When the other youths saw this, they could not help but feel chagrin that they had not taken the initiative to ask for the sword first. Although this sword could not compare to a yellow-grade weapon, it was also a top-quality, ordinary weapon. Yi Ling looked at the youth who had obtained the sword. He turned to look at Yi Qingtang with a complicated expression in his eyes. He was rather puzzled as to why his daughter had repeatedly refused Dan Yifan's help. One must know that with Dan Yifan's ability, Yi Qingtang would greatly benefit if he could give her 1 or 2 pointers. However, Yi Ling did not say anything. He was afraid that Yi Qingtang had refused out of pride. After all, Yi Qingtang was the eldest young lady of the Yi family. Yi Qingtang sensed Yi Ling's gaze, but she only smiled and gave her father a peaceful look. Although Yi Ling had not said much about the Yi family situation, what Yi Qingtang had witnessed showed that the Yi family was currently in turmoil. Great Elder, you really have an excellent grandson. Third Elder smiled and said to the Great Elder as he looked at Dan Yifan, who was surrounded by an admiring crowd. The Great Elder smiled. Although he did not say anything, the pride that shone in his eyes showed how pleased he was with his grandson. Just as everyone was talking and laughing, the main gate of the Yi house suddenly burst open. The people from the Duan family who had just left had suddenly returned. This time, besides the youth that Dan Yifan had injured, there was another man with a cold and arrogant countenance. Elder Brother Duan, it was this fellow. He injured me just now. The person that Dan Yifan had injured was bandaged. He lifted his finger and pointed to Dan Yifan, who was surrounded by an admiring crowd. The cold and arrogant man's gaze fell on Dan Yifan. It was as if his face was covered by a layer of frost. Chapter 967 Another Incident 2. Everyone from the Yi family had been rejoicing, but when they saw the people from the Duan family, their faces fell. Duan Luaning, second elder, frowned as he looked at the cold and arrogant man. His expression was rather grim. Duan Luaning was the master's nephew. He was the same age as the Duan family's eldest son, Duan Tianyan. The two of them had studied under the same master since young and cultivated together. When Duan Tianyan returned to the Duan family in Lintown a year ago, Duan Luaning came with him. Further, Duan Luaning's ability had improved rapidly with the Long family's help. Duan Luaning had not appeared the last time the Duan family had come to make trouble. Today, he had unexpectedly arrived at the Yi house. Was it you who injured someone from my Duan family just now? Duan Luaning spoke coldly. His flinty gaze followed the direction in which the injured youth had pointed and looked towards Dan Yifan. When Dan Yifan heard that, he smiled and said, "It was I. So what? Can it be that you want to carry on? You injured someone from my Duan family. We cannot possibly let the matter rest," said Duan Luaning coldly. "Oh, what are you suggesting?" Dan Yifan raised his brows slightly. "Since the Yi family is unwilling to follow the rules, then tomorrow our families will settle the matter with a match. If the Yi family wins, the Duan family will not pursue the matter. But if you lose, you have to follow the new rules," said Duan Luaning. "So be it. When was the Yi family ever afraid?" Dan Yifan immediately agreed. With that, Duan Luaning laughed coldly and led the others away from the Yi house. The injured youth from the Duan family only spoke when they had left the main gate of the Yi house. "Elder Brother Duan, are we just going to let that fellow from the Yi family get away with it?" Duan Luaning said. "Get away with it? Dream on." Then, the Yi family has always ignored the new rules. It is time that the Yi family recognized this problem. In the arena tomorrow, the Duan family will force the Yi family to acknowledge that they have no more standing in Lintown. A cold look flashed across Duan Luaning's eyes. "I don't just want the Yi family to lose. I want them to completely lose their face in Lintown. Many people in Lintown will come to the match tomorrow. Then, we will use the Yi family as a warning and let everyone in Lintown see who calls the shots in here." After Duan Luaning spoke, everyone from the Duan family immediately grasped what he not say anything more. They only waited for the next day's match to have a reckoning with the Yi family. In the Yi family, everyone had different thoughts regarding the Duan family's challenge. The Duan family had previously acted arrogantly. Now that Dan Yifan had arrived at the Yi house, the Yi family might not need to fear the Duan family. "Yifan, you will fight in tomorrow's match." The Great Elder looked at his grandson. "Yes," said Dan Yifan, said graciously. Then, the Great Elder looked at Yi Ling. "Why not let the younger members of the Yi family attend tomorrow as well?" "Very well." Yi Ling nodded in agreement. The younger members of the Yi family had been oppressed by the Duan family for some time. Now that Dan Yifan had arrived, they might as well use the next day's match to regain some of the Yi family's prestige. It would also be a good opportunity to vindicate the younger members of the Yi family, who had been oppressed by the Duan family. Tang Tang, you should also go with us tomorrow. Yi Ling turned to look at Yi Qingtang. Although he did not say so explicitly, the truth was that he hoped Yi Qingtang could learn something from Dan Yifan. Perhaps it would be of some help to her when she returned to the sect in the future. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.